not taking much of Rashid
Mingo?
Rice. Why wouldn't I take Jonathan Mingo?
Yeah, he's got a complex profile, but it looks nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, my issue with Jonathan Mingo for sure is that nobody had ever heard of this guy a month ago because he wasn't ever good in college. He was completely non-productive for 4 years at Ole Miss. He has like a couple of intermittent stretches of good production, and then he's either his role changed or he got injured or whatever. What I would say generally is like, if you're splicing up a player's college production, especially over a 4-year sample, to try and find the pockets that were good, most players have good pockets. Like most bad players weren't just eternally bad for every single game that they ever played. Most had good games. Sometimes those good games came in back-to-back weeks. And usually the players who can't sustain that production, or they face some sort of change or adversity, and then all of a sudden their production completely tails off, and it only works in a very specific set of circumstances that are favorable to that player, those players are usually bad. So that's why I'm not into Jonathan Mingo.
Well, let me put it to you this way. When was Elijah Moore drafted? What pick? Do you remember?
Elijah Moore was drafted like quite early in the second, I think. I don't know, pick 36, pick 35, something like that.
Yeah, let me just check.
Mingo, if you were ranking Ole Miss pass catchers in terms of draft capital, the highest drafted was Ingram, followed by Elijah Moore, followed by Mingo, followed by AJ Brown, followed by Metcalf, followed by Knox.
Hold on. You seem to be forgetting the one true god from Ole Miss, Laquan Treadwell.
Oh, right. Yeah,
who was the highest drafted of the group.
Yeah, so, was he higher drafted than Evan Ingram?
I think so. Treadwell was 23. I think Ingram was in the 25, 26 range.
Okay.
I could be wrong, though. Okay. Anyways, yeah, like if you're just looking at draft capital and Ole Miss, like he's probably the best. He's better than AJ Brown. He's right on par with Elijah Moore, and he's considerably better than DK Metcalf. So you just have to push the button knowing that he went to Ole Miss and was drafted highly, and it's what do you call that? Helmet scouting? We just helmet scout in this business.
For like a fairly
the easiest things we can do.
For a fairly mediocre program over the last like decade plus, they've had an incredible amount of NFL pass catching prospects.
They have, haven't they?
Right? It's like
Jonathan Mingo, latest example.
They're like a second tier SEC West program who've had like a couple of intermittent exciting seasons alongside a lot of like 6-6, 7-5 type seasons. But yeah, like Brown, Metcalf, Elijah Moore, Mingo, Evan Ingram.
I would be willing to bet if you wanted to cut the sample even further, you could probably limit it to exclude someone like Laquan Treadwell or possibly. I don't remember. Is Laquan Treadwell 6'1" or 6'2"?
I don't know. I can't.
Okay, maybe not. Maybe you can. I was going to say you could probably cut off the height limit somewhere, eliminate Elijah Moore from the situation, and Laquan Treadwell, right. And now you're just left with Evan Ingram and DK Metcalf and AJ Brown and Jonathan Mingo, and you're set. Maybe
then you have to include Dawson Knox.
Top 12 tight end, Dawson Knox? Yeah, of course.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
We'll do a weight restriction. That'll get us there. Height won't, but weight will. I'm pretty sure like Laquan was only about 215. And everyone over like 220 is a stud from Ole Miss.
Yeah.
So let's go. For the record, I'm drafting Jonathan Mingo at any point, at any draft. He will go undrafted if I were drafting all 4 rounds myself.
Okay, so I had like this. It was so silly. I originally ranked him like pretty absurdly low. Like his ADP is like I think the 203 or the 202. My first set of ranks.
So broken.
In my pre-draft ranks, I had him in the late 4th, and I only had him there because like apparently he was going to go in round 2. He wouldn't have been in my top 48 if I wasn't like even accounting for draft capital at all. And then after he got the draft capital, I was like, all right, okay, I'll like at least bump him up. Whatever. I hadn't looked at ADP yet. I intentionally did not look at ADP when I published my first set of post-draft ranks because I didn't want to be influenced by it. And I was like, I'm probably going to be a little low on Jonathan Mingo. I put him at the 304. And then I saw his ADP. I was like, holy crap. Like I'm extraordinarily low on Jonathan Mingo to like an almost comical extent. And then I was like asking around with some folks that I respect. And I was like, where do you have Mingo? Like, am I like being too much of a hater? Like, am I being dramatic? And they were like, yeah, you're being dramatic. And I was like, all right, I'll move him up. And so I moved him up to the 301, and that hasn't mattered. I haven't ever seen him last to the 301. But so I begrudgingly moved Mingo up higher than I'd want to draft him. Still not within 8 picks of his ADP.
Yeah, I got him at 28, so I guess I will draft him at the top.
304. That's exactly where I had him in my first run before I gave way to the masses, and I moved him up to 301.
Yeah, I'm not drafting him where his ADP is. I mean, I guess if I absolutely have to, I guess I could, but like, there's somebody that is willing to draft him there, and I'll take virtually anything to get out of that pick.